Hello, my name is Darlinda McTuck, and I would just like to share a little bit of information about the components of the Danielson domain 4. Of course, as we all know, the fourth domain deals with professional responsibilities and actually contains 6 different components. Now, one of the first ones that we're going to talk about is 4A, which is reflecting on teaching. So let's just take a look at this some information here on component 4A. Just take this, there we go, into the present mode here. All right. Now you'll notice here's some basic concepts. So, again, this is reflecting on teaching. So, of course, the instruction occurs and then the teacher's thinking about it or reflecting about it. And, one thing that's important to think about is, analyzing or evaluating, how that is impacting the student learning. But then, of course, looking into the future after reflection, what will that do for upcoming learning? So what are some things that a teacher can do to reflect? Of course, you could write a journal, you can look at work, you can get feedback from students, and again, just, thinking about the teaching. Now, there's different levels, of course, within the Danielson framework. Now, if a teacher wants to get to the distinguished level, certain things have to occur. You can see, some statements right there as to, how the teacher would get to that level. One thing that you should notice is that it's not only is the teacher reflecting, but they're citing very specific examples from the lesson. And you can see here the teacher is talking about 2 specific students, exactly what they did or did not do. So again, it's very, very specific. Another thing too is the teacher is going to think about going forward, how they can actually, improve upon their craft or improve their teaching. So again, distinguished level is going to have very specific examples and be looking towards the future. Now, these are just 10 ways to be a more reflective teacher. You can just take a minute and read through those. You'll notice down here that these actually came from a website called teachthought.com. And I like this one right here where it says, be brutally honest, but not overly critical. So again, you're critiquing yourself. Just don't, beat yourself up. All right. And also, you don't want to reflect always in the same way. So again, you can, do different things, videos, journals, different ways. This is what is known as the taxonomy of reflection. Think of it as blooms. Notice here at the bottom, you can simply start with remembering, what did you do, understanding, how was it important, applying, where could you use it again, analyzing for patterns, evaluating how well did you do, and creating what should I do next. Notice this is on this website, peterpapas.com. It's actually a taxonomy for reflection for a teacher. All right. And again, there is a self-assessment tool within the course that you can use. All right. So that was component 4A, which is reflecting on teaching. So then if we go off to component 4B, that's going to be maintaining accurate records. So let's just take a look here at a few things with maintaining accurate records. I'm just going to go ahead and click present. All right. We'll go into the present mode. All right, so again, this is component 4B, maintaining accurate records. Now notice records refers to instructional and non-instructional. So not only doing grades and things like that, but non-instructional would be, tracking, field trip, money turn-in, things like that. All right, so again, it's talking about some different things that you're doing here. So, obviously you're tracking attendance, student work, field trips, but also if you have things like a class website or blog, keeping those current. Now, here is a distinguished example. Notice these 4 words actually. Students must add information. Okay, so it's not just you keeping track of things. In order to get to distinguish, the students would be keeping track of things. So, for example, you may have a folder that the students put their homework in. Students may actually do some type of a portfolio where they're collecting their work and showing what they learned. So notice the students must add information. It's not just you keeping track of that, instructional and non-instructional. So how would you ever get the students in there? Notice you can give students checklists or rubrics, so as they're going through assignments, they can self-check. Also, again, if the students have a digital portfolio or even hard copy, a physical copy, again, the students pick their best work. All right, so that was component 4B, which would be maintaining accurate records. Just know that it's both instructional and non-instructional. Now let's take a look at communicating with families. All right, so let me just get this into present here. There we go. Okay. So again, communicating with families, this is now component 4C. Now, when you communicate with families, you know, anything that's going on instructionally, you want to keep them informed with. Also, letting them know about an individual student. So, how would you get to a distinguished level? Again, notice the students must contribute to that communication. Okay. Also, staying in touch. A parent contacts you, you contact them back, and frequent communications. Here's some examples here. This is where the student is tracking their reading. Again, there could be some use of social media, Twitter, Facebook, those types of things. But again, the social media would be on a professional level where, you're creating something specifically for the classroom, not just a parent following you on social media. Also a website, Google Sites, different things you could use to set up a website, letting parents know what's going on, even Google Classroom. Also, any communications, you can track those with a communication log. So again, remember to get to distinguish, the student must be a part of that communication. Now, let's take a look at, there's actually 3 components which has to do with professionalism. You have 4D, which has to do, 4D, sorry, I was just getting the lights back on. 4D is where you participate in a professional community. 4E is where you are growing professionally yourself, and 4F is you're actually showing how you're professional. So let's just take a look at this, all 3 of these components together. Okay, so there you go, participating, growing, and showing. Now, when you are participating in a professional community, this is going to be, how are you relating with your colleagues, your peers? How are you involved in, professional inquiry? And again, service to the school, and that goes beyond the classroom. And also, are there school and district projects that you can be involved in? So again, you are participating professionally. Growing, this is where, just as you're taking this online course, you're trying to increase your content knowledge, pedagogical skill. Also, professionally, if you're being professional, you are receptive to feedback. And again, what professional organizations do you belong to? So, service to the profession. Now, showing, again, your moral fiber, integrity, your ethical conduct. Students will always be first, so that's service to students. Again, advocacy, you're keeping the students at the center, you're keeping them in mind. And also any regulations set up by the school, the district, and, even to include things like New York State and things along those lines. Now, here's some examples. Notice that with component 4D, if you're going to participate, you would attend functions. You'd have different meetings you'd go to. 4E, where you're growing, you would have workshops or courses or different things that you're taking. And where you're showing it, again, you may mentor a new teacher. Again, you may mentor a student, and also different organizations you belong to. Okay, so that is an overview of the six components. It's the fourth domain. So remember, 4A, you're reflecting on teaching. 4B, you're maintaining accurate records. 4C, you're communicating with families. 4D, you're participating in a professional community. 4E, you're growing in a professional community. And 4F, you're showing professionalism. So again, those are the six components of the fourth domain of the Danielson framework. Thank you.